Hi everyone, welcome back to Quirky Pineapples. If you're new here, I'm Vina, a plant-based recipe developer on a mission to show you how simple vegan baking can be. Today, I'm going to show you how to make vegan vanilla buttercream frosting. So I really like this recipe for a few reasons. One, I've been using it for years now. Even before going vegan, I would use this for my cake clients. It's also not incredibly sweet. It's perfectly balanced with just the right amount of vanilla flavor. And also because it doesn't take a ton of ingredients. All you need is some powdered sugar, some softened vegan butter, vanilla extract or vanilla bean paste, some salt, and a little bit of vegan milk. All right, so we're gonna start out with our softened vegan butter. Now, I wanna emphasize that the butter is softened, but it's not super soft and squishy like if it's at complete and total room temperature. I set my butter out for maybe about 20 minutes before kneading it. And even if you do, say you forget you set your butter out and it does get down to that really kind of squishy, soft consistency, there are ways to fix it. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But I'm gonna start out by putting my vegan butter into my stand mixer. If you don't have a stand mixer, you can use a hand mixer. But I don't recommend you trying to whip up buttercream by hand because it does take quite a process. All right, so we've got our butter in, and I'm just going to use my whisk attachment to sort of break the butter up. Right, make sure I'm locked this time. Now you will notice that sometimes your butter will end up in the inside of the whisk and get stuck in there. Don't worry. The more that the butter breaks down, the more it'll end up out and back into the bowl. Sometimes what I'll do is speed up my mixer to kind of throw it back out of the whisk. So don't worry too much if you see that happening. Now, when this butter starts to finally break down and kind of end up on the sides of the bowls, you're welcome to kind of stop it whenever you need to and use like a rubber spatula to scrape down the sides of the bowl and kind of get your butter back into the middle of the bowl. But like I said, it does take a moment to get the butter to the right consistency. So this takes a little bit of patience. It doesn't take long to do this, but it takes a little bit of patience to get it right. Whoa. So again, I'm just gonna scrape down the bowl. And like I said, it's gonna take a while. And what you're looking for is when your butter finally starts to get nice and smooth and sort of a creamy consistency before you start to add your sugar. And if it's a little stiff, don't worry, it's gonna get there. Now that my butter is pretty smooth, even though it's deciding it wants to sort of stay on the whisk, I'm gonna scrape down again. I'm trying not to get too much of it on my knuckles. I'm gonna scrape down again and try to get it off. It's okay if some is left on the whisk because now what we're gonna do is start adding our powdered sugar. Now, you don't wanna add your powdered sugar all at once because you're gonna end up with a sugar cloud all over your kitchen and probably all over you. So usually I like to start out with about a quarter cup at a time or just like a few tablespoons just to sort of get everything going. So here, we'll do about a quarter cup. There we go. And then we'll start whipping again. Okay, and again, it's wanting to kind of hold on to the bowl and the whisk. Don't worry too much about it. We're gonna add more sugar. And the object is that you're just gonna keep adding sugar, and the more it gets combined, or as soon as it starts to combine with the butter, then you can stop, add more sugar until you don't have any more sugar left. Okay, another good time to scrape down the bowl. My butter is really determined to stick on my whisk today, so the same might happen to you again. Don't worry, it all comes together in time. All right. And I'm just gonna add more of my sugar. I'm so sorry for knocking this bowl. I'm so sorry. It just keeps happening. All right, I think I'm okay to add the rest of my sugar. There we go. Because I don't think that amount will cause a big old cloud. All right, one more time. Okay, so now I'm gonna do sort of an elbow grease scrape down where I'm gonna go ahead and take this off and sort of beat my buttercream off of my whisk. Okay. So now this is a good time to add your vanilla extract or your vanilla bean paste. I like to use vanilla bean paste because it has sort of like a richer flavor than the regular vanilla extract, even though regular vanilla extract is just fine. I've used both. Try to get that in there. There we go. All right. Add that, and then I'm also going to add in my salt. Okay. Now, what I like to do, and I forgot to mention this, is as I'm whipping with each whip, I usually like to start out slow and then I'll increase the speed, and I'll kind of increase the speed as high as I feel comfortable to sort of get the buttercream to kind of, like I said, whip off of the whisk and onto back into the bowl. So what we have right now is pretty smooth, but it's a bit stiff. So to loosen this up a little bit and make it a little bit more creamy, you can use some vegan milk, or you can use vegan whipping cream. That's kind of a cool thing right now, is that now we have vegan whipping cream also. Traditionally, when I would make cakes that were not vegan, I would use regular whipping cream. But I found that both work just fine. So kind of use whatever you have on hand, especially since you're only using about a tablespoon. And I mean, I don't know who wants to spend all that money on vegan whipping cream and then you use a tablespoon, and then what else are you using it for? So I'm going to do another scrape down, and then I'm going to add a little bit of my milk at a time. Now, I'm not going to add the whole tablespoon all at once, right? You're going to gauge and see the consistency of your buttercream. Basically, if you are using this for cakes, you want it to be just slightly looser. If you're using it for cupcakes, then you'll want it to be a little bit stiffer. But that's completely up to you. So like I said, I'm not going to add all of it at once. I'm just going to pour maybe about half of it in. Okay. And then give it another whip and see how that consistency is from that. Okay, let's kind of test that consistency out. I think that might work. Rinse off. Sometimes you'll find that you don't need all of the milk, but I think that my consistency is exactly where I want it to be, and it's kind of perfect. It's just soft enough and creamy enough that if I sort of wanted to use it for cake, I could use it for cake, and I could also use it for cupcakes as well. All right, so to get this off of my whisk, I'm gonna do kind of a fast blend to sort of throw it off of the whisk. And then I'm gonna do that lovely, annoying sound of banging my whisk onto my bowl. Alrighty, so now we have a nice, smooth, whipped buttercream. We'll give it a taste test. That's good. It almost tastes marshmallowy actually, which is kind of nice. But like I said, perfectly balanced. It has that really good vanilla flavor. And because we added the salt, that helped to balance everything out a little bit. Now, Alexa. Now, so I'm gonna take this out of the bowl and I'm going to transfer it to like a airtight container because I plan on using mine later. If you plan on using your buttercream right away, I highly recommend, and let me grab it. I highly recommend that you work sort of the air bubbles out of it. You'll switch to this paddle attachment on your stand mixer and whip the air bubbles out of it before you try to smooth it onto a cake or before you pop it into a pastry bag to put onto cupcakes. And that will make your buttercream pretty much just user ready. But I don't plan on using mine for another like day or so. And so you can store your buttercream in the fridge for about 3 days, or you can actually even freeze buttercream and it'll keep for about a month or two, which is kind of nice, right? But like I said, I don't plan on using mine right away, but we've just got like perfectly smooth and whipped buttercream here. Yeah, it's really great. And so really simple. Now here's a few tips for you. If your buttercream starts to break, and you'll know what that looks like, where it starts to look a little oily and runny. Something that I used to do when my buttercream would do that, maybe I left my butter sitting out on the counter a little too long, or it was a particularly hot day and it made my butter melt. Is you can take your whole like metal bowl, cover it up, stick it in the refrigerator with your buttercream in there, leave it in for maybe about 10 to 15 minutes, pull it back out, whip it again, and it should become stable again. Or I've even tried this before. If you have ice packs, like soft ice packs, you can put ice packs up against the bowl while it whips, and that will also bring it back to life and make it more stable. So even if your buttercream isn't looking, smooth and creamy the way that it is here, don't worry. Buttercream is so simple that you can actually redeem it. Now, I don't know if you put too much of anything, like for example, if I had added a little too much milk, add a little bit more powdered sugar, right? If you notice it's looking a little bit dry, cut in maybe another quarter of a tablespoon of, or I'm sorry, a tablespoon of butter. So there's always ways to redeem your buttercream. So I really hope you found that helpful. So the recipe for this buttercream is on quirkypineapples.com. As usual, I'll put my QR code here in the corner for you. It's such a great recipe. You can use it for cakes, cupcakes, to put on top of cookies, cookie sandwiches, whatever it is that you want to use it for. So if you decide to make this recipe, don't forget to comment below. Let me know how you like it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And thank you so much for joining me again today. Bye. You how simple vegan baking can be. Today I'm going to show you how to make vegan vanilla buttercream frosting. Sorry. Everything kept getting caught in my throat. I need one.